welcome back to my channel. I made some Animal Crossing clothes, including this hat, and I thought I would just share the process. So this will be a 3-part video series where today's video I'm making this hat, next week's video I'm making this maple leaf bag, and then the week after that I'm making this tweed dress. And I had a lot of fun with this. I definitely would like to do this again. So if you have any suggestions for items you want to see me make, let me know in the comments. Let's get into it. Step 1, pattern drafting. I used this video from Sachi's studio, which I definitely would recommend. She did a way better job than I did. You're gonna need 2 measurements from your ear to ear and your circumference of your head. So you're gonna take half of the ear to ear measurement and mark that down the middle of your page, and then you're gonna take 1/6 of your head circumference and mark that as the width. And then I took my protractor to measure a 60-degree angle to make the point at the top, and that ensures that it flies flat on the top of your head. And then I also used that 60 degrees on the lower end for the flare out. I wish I made it flare out a bit more at the ends so that it sort of curls more, and I also should have made the brim a bit bigger because I forgot that seam allowance exists, so it ended up being a lot shorter than I wanted. So I just rounded out the edges and added seam allowance and cut it out, and there you have your pattern. Step 2, cutting out the fabric. I was going to use these cool new pens, but the fabric was too fluffy and it didn't mark it properly. I also spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to figure out how to click the pen. So I didn't mark the fabric. I instead got some cardboard and tacked the fabric down and the pattern and cut around the pattern until I got all 12 pieces. Then I found a thread to match, and I threaded my machine and got to sewing. If you don't have a machine, that's perfectly fine. You totally can hand sew this, and you can enjoy this footage of me sewing with the knowledge that it's meaningless and I end up seam ripping it all and re-sewing it again. The problem was that I was too liberal with my seam allowance when I cut out the pieces, and when I sewed it I used a smaller seam allowance, so it ended up being just a bit too big for me, which it looks fine, but if I shook my head at all it would move, and I knew that would bother me, so I decided to fix it. So I tried to just sew over it without seam ripping it, thinking that that would work, but I ended up making the top look really wonky and uneven. So off camera I seam ripped both of the seams on all 12 pieces, and it took way too long. So just use the correct seam allowance, measure twice, cut once, measure twice, sew once. So this time I'm using the correct seam allowance and it turns out great. What worked best for me was sewing the pieces in pairs and then sewing 3 of the pairs into one circle, and I did that for both the inside and the outside. The important part is to make sure that the inner seams line up before you pin it in place, and that will prevent the top from being uneven. So when I was sewing, I went just a tiny bit past the stitch line that I was intersecting, and that ensures that there isn't a hole in the top of the hat. And I did not do that the first time, so that became the inside of the hat, so I could hide my mistakes. I trim off some of the excess fabric and sewed the inside and the outside pieces together, but I left one panel open so that I can turn it inside out. And then I sewed the center of each of the inside and outside pieces together so that it doesn't shift around. Then I sewed up the opening with the ladder stitch. And I ironed out the edges, and then the hat was done. So I think it turned out okay. It's a cute hat. I think it's just a bit off from the original. I wish I would have made the brim longer so that you could see more of the waviness, but I think it's still cute. I definitely will wear this out. And it also matches the maple leaf bag that I'm sewing in the next video, which I am so thrilled about. They look so cute together. As I said before, the next video will be the maple leaf pochette, and the week after that will be the iconic tweed dress. If there's any Animal Crossing items you want to see me make, let me know in the comments. I am super pumped about all of the furniture and the clothes, and especially with all the stuff they just added in the new update. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate all the support and love and comments, and yeah, thank you so much. All right, I'll see you later. Bye. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a like, and if you're digging my vibes, then hit subscribe, smash the bell so you can catch me live, have a question or comment, let me know. Let's start a conversation in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.